In the previous movie, we looked at how to resize an image essentially so we could create a print at a specific size and resolution. Yeah, what about the situations where you want to resize and export an image so that you can send it as an attachment to an email or post it online on a blog or maybe on a social media site? Well, let's look at how we can do that here with this photograph of my friend Maria. Now, the first step for us is going to be to go to our image size dialog. Here we'll go to image and then image size. And we're going to use the image size dialog to look up some information about the file. Now, currently at the 100% view, if we pan around, what we're going to discover is that this image is really huge. Here we can see that we have a super big file. It's about 50 megs, about 5,000 by 3,500 pixels across. We could print this as approximately a 12 by 18-inch print. So we have too much information here. We need to get rid of some of this information so that it's smaller, so that we can send it with an email or post it online. So rather than use our image size dialog, what we're actually going to use is an export dialog. So here we'll go ahead and click cancel. We're going to navigate to the file pull-down menu, and here we're looking for export, then export as. So again, this is file, export, and export as. Once we click this, this will launch our export dialog. And what we can do here is we can actually select the file type and resize the image and convert the color profile or color space as well. So let's take a look at how we can do this. All right, well, this image is of a friend, as I mentioned, Maria. We dug a hole in the sand, put this ladder here, and she has this Shakespearean dress on. And I'm going to zoom into 100%, and I'm going to do that just to show you how the image size will change as we resize it. So we'll go to our 100% view, as we've seen before. You can see we have the image we're working with. Now, over here on the right-hand side, we have file settings. First, we want to choose the file format. We want to choose JPEG for photographs. Then we have a quality setting. Now, with quality, what you want to do is bring this down a little bit in order to shave off some of the overall file size. Yet you don't want to go so low that you start seeing artifacts or you start seeing the image fall apart. Try this with one of your own images, but when you drop down pretty low, the file size will be smaller, but you all of a sudden see some weird noise or some artifacts in the image. So typically, if you need a number to aim for, probably somewhere between 70 and 80%. With this image, it's in pretty good shape. I might go to about 85%. I think that will look and work pretty well. All right. Well, next up, we have our actual image size. Now, what we're going to do with our image size is we can either just go ahead and change these values, our width and our height, or we can scale the image. With scaling the image, I can say, you know what, I want to see what this would be like at 50% of the size. And then when we click off of this field, it's going to change our view over here. So now we have an image which is about 2,600 pixels across by 1,700 tall. So you can change this using scale, or you can target a specific pixel size. Now, my portfolio website, which is chrisorwig.com, requires that I use 2,500 pixel-wide images. So this is what I use, say, for portfolio. If I were to email this to my friend or maybe my mom, I might choose something more along the lines of 1,500 pixels. And you can see here that it's updating this preview in this window. I want to evaluate, how does it look in this window? How is my quality setting working here? Do I need to make any changes there? You also want to keep in mind that as you make changes to the image size, what you're seeing in this area essentially is how big someone else will see the image on their monitor. Now, I have to point out that my monitor resolution is really low when I make these movies so that you can see all the details. So that's why this looks so small. But on your own screen, what you'll want to do is type in a number. Again, aim for probably 1,500 for posting it on a blog, social media sites, emailing. And you'll see, okay, this is the actual size of the image that the person will receive if I email it, or this is what it will be when I post it online. All right, next we have the ability to change our canvas size. You won't really need to do that. Let me just show you what this is really quickly. So I'll just change these values here so you can see this. But essentially what you can do is say, hey, I want to have a border around my image. I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to do this, but you can see that once I type in these numbers, I've added 100 pixels around the outer edge. So you can extend your canvas size if needed. I want to reset that. I don't want to do that. And I also want to go back to the number that we've been talking about, which is 1500 pixels wide or tall. That's a pretty good number for your long edge. Now for the metadata, not going to include any on this one because it will add a little more file size and I haven't added anything to it. So I'll just leave that to none. Color space, this is really critical. Leave that checked on to convert this to that sRGB color space. That's the best one when viewing images on monitors in the situations like we're doing, which is email or posting it online on social media, etc. Well, now that we've learned about all those settings and we've dialed in our appropriate quality and also image size, we've made sure we have our color space converted to sRGB. The next and the final step is to just click export. When you click export, it will ask you, hey, where do you want to save this? I'll save it to the same folder, and I'm just going to put a little -web on there. You may want to change the name so you say, hey, yeah, this is the one I'm going to email, or this is the one for my blog, or whatever it is. So change the name as is appropriate so that you'll know what the file is. Then click export, and what that will do is it will export out that file. Now, the question is, did it change our main file right here? Well, let's look it up. Here we'll go to image and image size. What we're going to encounter is that we still have all of the giant file size that we need. We haven't changed this file at all. Rather, all that we did with the export dialog is say, hey, take the big file and then create a smaller one so that I can send that smaller one to someone else. But we haven't lost any of that big, wonderful file size that we have. So we could still resize this one to print it or to use it in a different way as well. So as you can see, there is an advantage to using that export dialog when you're interested in getting your images out there in the world, whether it's to email to someone or to post that image online.